To Aston Villa from the stand, breaking transfer news. Diego Carlos has officially left Aston Villa and has joined Turkish giants Fenerbahçe, in which he embarks on a new move in which his Aston Villa career never really kicked off or got going. And can he now find solace at a new place? Big up to everyone. Make sure you smash a like. Comment on this video on your thoughts on Diego Carlos. Are you sure that this is the right move for him? Do you think Aston Villa have jumped the gun too early and sold Diego Carlos? And do you think we're going to find a suitable replacement for him? Let me know. And of course, if you're new as well around here, then hit that subscribe button. That'd be greatly appreciated. But let's not beat around the bush. Let's get straight into the story. And here it is on your screen now. And this is translated from the Fenerbahçe Turkish language to, of course, the English, which it says, "Welcome to our family, Diego Carlos. Our club has finalised an agreement with Aston Villa and Brazilian centre-back Diego Carlos for his transfer. Diego Carlos has signed a 3.5-year contract with our club. We warmly welcome our new player to the family and wish him great success, victories and championships with Fenerbahçe." And there is a picture of Diego right here, smiling, thumbs up and happy, because his time at Aston Villa has been jaded. His time at Aston Villa has not been how he imagined. And maybe this is the start and fresh start that he needs. And you can see there with that thumbs up that it's official. He's in the kit. It's done. It's dusted. This is not a rumour. This is not speculation. This is the real thing. And so you've got to look at this from a perspective of, well, what have Aston Villa gained from this? Well, just to share you this story now, this is how much the reported fears that we've got for Diego Carlos. John Towlin has reported that Diego Carlos has completed his move from Aston Villa to Fenerbahçe in a deal around worth 8.5 million. Now, we know of Aston Villa, we are the add-on kings, and we know of Aston Villa, we are the buyback kings. I can be sure to say that I don't think there's going to be a buyback clause on Diego Carlos. He doesn't fit that age bracket or remit. But I would also like to think that 8.5 million for Diego Carlos isn't bad business. However, what I do believe is that this is another player that we are looking to get off the wage bill, and we've decided to go and venture elsewhere. Now, 8.5 million, I'd like to know your thoughts on that. Do you think that's a good price for Diego Carlos? Do you think we've actually done a good bit of business there for a player that, let's be honest, wasn't a first choice centre-back out of the two that we use? And it definitely seems that Diego Carlos has fallen down the pecking order. We know, of course, Diego had almost been forcing this move out when recently, about a week ago, he commented on an Instagram account where it was a report from a sort of a media journalist who said Diego Carlos is out injured, and Diego has commented on the post saying, "I'm not injured." And basically that made his move happen and how he's ended up at Fenerbahçe, because Diego from that moment was never included in the matchday squad. So what does that mean for me, really? Well, first of all, Diego Carlos, his first season at Aston Villa, he gets injured at Bournemouth and his season is done and dusted. And that was a harsh and worrying introduction to life at Aston Villa. Second season, we started to see a bit more of Diego. We started to see maybe the character and player that he was going to be, someone who was strong, someone who loved one-on-one duels, someone who liked to go in and make a challenge or two, and maybe a little bit of speed and pace about him. But I felt that, again, with Diego, what was lacking is that ball-playing centre-half that Unai Emery craves, because he never matched the attributes that Pau Torres has. It was also a problem that with the rising form of Ezri Konsa and his leap to fame, and with Pau Torres, it was hard to see how Diego Carlos was going to fit at Aston Villa. Only until Villa had a right-back crisis and Konsa had to move out into right-back did we get to see Diego Carlos a bit more. But what was apparent then was where Tyrone Mings has come back into the fold, Diego Carlos seemed to have been fourth choice centre-half, with Mings, Konsa and Pau above him. And that is when you probably got an issue there in terms of Diego Carlos's perspective, where he was probably ideally signed as being a first choice starter, someone who was going to be Mr. Consistent, Mr. Reliable at the back, to falling down to fourth choice. And that is the brutal and honest assessment of Diego Carlos. Do I think his character was right at Aston Villa? I think that sometimes he's a little bit reckless. I think that sometimes he made crazy mistakes. And also what seemed to be was that, his lack of concentration in the teams who are smaller than us wasn't ideal. Diego Carlos, however, seemed to be able to get up for the big clashes, your Champions League battles, your Arsenals, your Man Cities, your Liverpools. That's where Carlos seemed to thrive. And the Villa fan base seems to be very torn on social media about Diego Carlos. You get a lot of people saying there's one player at Aston Villa who's come under too much criticism, too much hate, probably doesn't deserve it. And people are saying that's Diego Carlos. I think there's merit to that, and I think that actually Carlos has come under a lot of scrutiny. But I would also say that Carlos has probably made himself stand out, like Tyrone Mings does sometimes, for the wrong reasons. Both Mings and Carlos are both known for giving the ball away at key moments and being punished for it, or making stupid tackles that lead to goals, or giving away a penalty. That's what they sort of have built a reputation on. And that's something you wouldn't label with an Ezri Konsa or necessarily a Pau Torres. Both Pau and Ezri have faults of themselves. But the thing that probably people come down to Diego Carlos is his concentration, his ball playing ability. And when you get labelled with that and the mistake happens, that's when the microscope's on you. So moving forward with this then, Aston Villa have left themselves in a precarious position because we've got Konsa, we've got Mings, Pau Torres is expected to return at the end of February. We are really short in centre-back, so we have to hope and pray that, of course, Mings and Konsa stay fit. But this is where probably the big thing comes in now. Now we've shipped out Diego Carlos, I 100% expect to see Aston Villa confirming, getting over the line, another defender. Of course, we've already got Garcia who's coming in, but I expect to see another one now. Done deal, spotted. I think we can't leave ourselves that short at the back. And I feel like actually building for the future again, another centre-half is key because you don't know the shelf life of Pau Torres and Tyrone Mings, in my opinion, and where Unai Emery's plans are for both of them. So I would expect to see Aston Villa actually go in for another player. But we do see with Aston Villa that we are a one-in, one-out system. Jadon Philogene left, Daniel Marlin comes in. Diego Carlos has left, Garcia's come in. So it is that transactional one-in, one-out window. But I still think that Aston Villa will try and operate in a way in which we can get one more player through the door. And I do think it will be in those defensive areas. So, yeah, I would love to know your thoughts on Diego Carlos. Are you happy for him? Do you think this is the right move? Do you think Villa have jumped the gun too early? And ultimately, as well, what does this mean for Aston Villa going forwards in terms of that position at centre-back? I also want to note, though, with Fenerbahçe, they seem to be doing some interesting news. Of course, they've got Diego Carlos over the line, but it does seem they're also going to get Martin Skriniar, another centre-half who Aston Villa have been linked to. And it seems that Jose Mourinho and Fenerbahçe are moving fast and strengthening their defence. I do think Diego Carlos is definitely a Jose Mourinho-style player. Strong, physical, hard to beat, low block, bit of a nutter, ticks all the Mourinho boxes, in my opinion. But there we go. Aston Villa, transfer news, done, official, confirmed, not a rumour, 100% happened. And let's see what happens. We've got, 7-8 days left of the transfer window. Still, many of things are going to happen, in my opinion, in the next week or so. Big up to everyone watching. Make sure you smash a like, subscribe, get on this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Ta